Right? It's like a theater setting in here.
It's always like a cop. Hey, pull over. I want to see your license and registration.
The mustache doesn't help.
Actors just to think we can watch ourselves
The whole time.
We're all talking to you. We're all going to be distracted.
I like the jacket.
Yeah, we have the same jacket. I called his wife and I go, where'd you get that jacket?
You would think that he would know to use a microphone when he does inside of you.
Yeah, I wanted his jacket, so I called his wife and I said, hey, where can I get that? She's like, she sent me a link and I got it. So
I love it. You guys have spent the weekend in Cleveland, yes? Well, what has been your most memorable part
We
of
spent
the
the weekend at the con.
Here in town.
Just like,
It was nice.
Meeting everyone, yeah.
these people, this is why we're here.
Was there one interaction that stood out to you the most?
yeah, 3:30 panel on Sunday. You guys hate it too, don't you?
They want to be here, 100%.
Probably earlier in the day.
Not anymore. They don't like you anymore. Just kidding. Everybody loves you.
I love panels.
See, Michael's finishing this pretzel I was discussing.
Really good.
Quick carbs,
Very
delicious.
moist.
The guy outside.
He's gonna be sleepy afterwards, probably,
On the plane, I'll sleep.
with a belly full. We're all here because of Smallville. They are big fans.
Woo!
Sometimes memory, gets away from us. What is your first memory and your last memory of being on set?
My first memory was probably harness training. It kind of happened the minute I got there. So they had me up for a couple hours. So that was really cool. My last was when I passed out in the harness.
We have memories for about 10 minutes.
No, my last memory was probably the last scene I shot, just kind of floating in the window while you got married, because apparently I wasn't invited.
Got married?
Yeah. Didn't he? Almost? Okay, I wasn't there, so.
I think my first memory was just like going, wow, I'm going to be on a show that's good for once. This looks like they're spending a lot of money. I better be on my game.
My first memory was the day that I pulled up to the studio and Tucky was there. You guys remember Tucky? And
You guys remember Tucky,
I pulled
don't
up, put me down, and I go, hey, how you doing? And he's like, hey. Because we hadn't met, he didn't know who I was. And I was like, I'm on this TV show, I think it's shooting here. He's like, oh yeah, just park over there. That's my first memory.
It all started.
Yeah. And
Mine was seeing you naked in the field, but not you.
It's not a bad way to start.
Not yet. There's a wonderful man named Nathaniel who
I
was
had a
willing to
wonderful
grace
body
me with his
double.
presence.
He was the most handsome dude.
Wasn't he great? You're like, I'm so glad he's my double.
Yeah, I was like, keep it up, bro.
We all were glad he was your double.
Yeah.
I also remember the first time they shaved my head, and I was like, wow, this takes longer than I thought it would. I'm going to have to do this for 7 years.
I know, and I came in a few years later when you were like mid-rant about it, and I was like, this is Michael
He
Rosenbaum.
was angry.
Yeah.
No, that time I was just like...
And you know what? I was like, I came in and I'm from Alberta and nobody in my family's in the business, and I came in and I met Michael and he's ranting about his head getting shaved and the music and all that, and I was like, but you knew you were gonna have to shave it.
No, I thought that the buzz cut would be fine. I didn't know they had to like put 3 layers of makeup so you couldn't see my hairline, and 2.5 hours later it was like, are we done?
It was kind of amazing though.
For you.
Yeah. And for us viewers. Tom, did you have a last memory?
I remember the last day that I worked, I'd gone to the producers early, and I said, the last day that we shoot, I do not want to be in the last scene.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not, and this isn't a request. And so we were shooting on whatever that rooftop set was, and I remember it was like, okay, that's a series wrap on Tom Welling. They passed around this like a sip of these little plastic shot glasses of tequila, and they handed out the whole crew. We all did like, it's literally a sip, like you do it. But the first AD turned around and he goes, all right, well, we're on the wrong set. And the whole crew went that way, and I went that way. And I got in my car and I left.
And he cried on his way home.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
10 years, that's a long time, 10 years. Yeah. By the way, sign language lady.
I'm sorry, what's going to happen?
You are all right in advance.
I'm going to give you some words. I just was curious as what they look like. Diarrhea. Explosive diarrhea. I can't stop crapping myself.
Don't do it.
Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry.
I heard they were practicing those ahead of time.
Absolutely. I know how.
Erica, did you have a last memory of being on set? You had a first memory, but did you have a last
Yeah,
one?
it was. I had to do the wedding scene.
Oh, the weddings.
Yeah, and I was adjusting my veil, and then that was it.
My last moment was killing my sister. And then I got in the trailer,
Cassidy.
and I remember going, all right, thanks so much. This is great. Natalie, and I started to walk outside, and I don't know what happened. I just got emotional. And I turned around and I hugged Natalie, because she was like our mom. And I remember crying, and she cried, and it was just like, wow. Because it's like your family for so many years. So I definitely got emotional, and I didn't expect it. I was like, yeah, I'm done. God!
I have something in my eye.
Did you shave your head on your own for like a year after that? Just as like so.
No, but I shaved up.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, you gotta get a spring cleaning, guys. You just gotta, the ladies don't like it. They don't like the Hobbit.
Anyway.
We all know Superman and Clark Kent are almost, they're so otherworldly. He's so otherworldly. But Smallville definitely brings a humanity and something that we can relate to. Because you guys are going through high school, Clark. Were there struggles that you had to go through in high school that made you feel that you could connect to these characters and portray them well?
I was like, no, I was super cool.
Or were you very popular?
I wasn't popular at all, like these pretty people here. No, I wasn't popular. I was the smallest kid in my high school. No one would remember me unless, obviously now they might. But,
Suckers.
Yeah. But yeah, I just was kind of lost and didn't know what I was going to do and didn't know where I fit in, didn't know who I was. But I think everybody goes through that in their own ways. And it wasn't until I went to college where I started to find that group that I can relate to and things that I enjoy. And so I always tell kids, I'm like, listen, don't even think of college as, I got to find out what I'm going to do. It's more about finding yourself, who you are, and experience. Because some people just skip and just go straight to work. And I think that you're missing. You have the opportunity to go to college, and I wasn't smart. I wasn't, but it really helped me get the confidence.
Yeah. Anybody else? No?
Tom, you were popular in high school. Did you get laid?
I moved around a lot growing up, so I didn't really have I don't really have lifelong friends kind of thing. I mean, he's probably one of my longest friends that I talked to.
25 years.
So I was always kind of like, I don't want to say the outsider, but I was always the new kid kind of thing. So that was always something. But
How to juggle that and learn how to deal with that.
yeah, get along with people and figure out. But yeah, and then I was off to the next one.
Do you think that prepared you for the rest of life, though?
I think it helped prepare me for this business because it's a gypsy lifestyle in a way. But yeah.
Laura, did you go out with the QB?
I'm Canadian. There was no QB.
Goalie of the
Did you go out with
ice
the
hockey.
right winger?
Yeah, forward at the Hawk. No,
Yeah.
I was not like I started acting when I was 12, so I wasn't in school consistently, and I got made fun of for doing what I do. So Cara in the show, I guess she never really went to school, but she was of the age. I can't relate to a lot of what she went through on the show, but being an outsider and not feeling like you fit in, that's how I sort of related to her. Like I had two best friends in school and they were twins. Like it was basically one person, So I was
Two guys?
two girls.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, I was very introverted, and like I still am, but you kind of figure it out as you get older. But I was very quiet. I ate lunch with my teacher in her class, or I'd eat by my locker. Like, yeah, it's a lot of actors I think are introverted. I love you too.
Erica, you were popular, right? Come on.
No, I don't think so. I was unaware for the most part of most things. I think like most kids, they are under this kind of fallacy that there's a cool group, and they all kind of are desperately thinking that they're not cool, but I just don't think that's a thing. I think everybody just feels like they don't belong in a way. I tended to kind of jump from group to group. I like to do all sorts of things, and so, yeah.
Let's be honest here. Raise your hand if you were always a superhero fan or always liked that kind of stuff since you were a kid.
I mean, I watched all the movies I could as a kid. Yeah.
Really, you did? You watched all the Superman, all the Batman
Yeah.
comics?
No.
If you had a superpower, though, to get you through those school years, what superpower would you have loved to have?
Speed reading.
Invisibility.
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 I already had invisibility.
Aw.
I've been through therapy. I'm fine.
It's a blessing in disguise, really. And I talked to you a little bit about this yesterday, Tom, on the Superman panel, but obviously kryptonite is Superman's weakness. What weakness is yours?
I answered it yesterday. It was French fries.
From where? Like specifically?
That really doesn't matter. That's how bad it is.
What about a little truffle on
And
there?
patience.
Does truffle count on your fries, or is it just like strictly ketchup, or
No, it's all of them.
anything?
Yeah.
Just give them fries.
I even I said yesterday, I've gotten to the point at least where I don't order them, but I have 2 little kids and they do. And I'm always like, I'm not gonna.
Temptation is too great sometimes.
I'm getting better at my patience.
Yeah, you're much better. He was not patient at all. On Smallville, he walked outside, he goes, Scoot! 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 It's ready, let's go! Scoot! Do it!
I only did that
Close the
once.
mouth, come
I
on!
only did that once today.
I can see you waiting like 2 hours to do that. So in a way, you're patient.
It builds
considering
up.
how quick-
Kids
Outside of
have
it.
I
patient,
would just
having
see it
kids.
slowly rise and go up.
Well, it's just all, you hopefully realize it's not all about you.
Some point in life. When you have kids, you really realize that.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so don't tell my mom that.
Is there a storyline in the show that you wish would have progressed more, that would have been more developed for you?
Anything for me. So I couldn't do enough with her. And I would disappear, get amnesia. They were just trying to because I could fly and someone over here wouldn't, or sorry, couldn't. So they were always trying to kind of give her a little push to a different direction just to get rid of her. But I don't know, I felt like there could have been so much more story for her that we didn't see. And then it just flew away.
Yeah.
But then we got the Supergirl series, and now she's going to have the feature film. So the legacy continues. We get to see different versions of her. Just wish I got to do a little more. Yeah.
I think for Tom, you would have loved if Transference kind of had a few episodes.
That was fun. Playing John Glover. Yeah, it was a nice challenge. It was creatively invigorating.
I remember the story where John Glover came up to you and he's like, I can't do you. What do? You do nothing. You do nothing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm really having trouble with this because you just stand there. Well, Clark really doesn't do much. He doesn't just kind of stand there. I go, don't complicate it. He goes, Tom, I complicate everything. Yeah.
Erica, was there something that you wish would have been more touched upon?
No, I got on this gravy train. I'm still riding it 27 years later. How did this happen? This is great. No, people talk to me about Lois and they're very complimentary about my interpretation of her, which I think is great. But I always say, in fairness, I was able to do cool stuff. Like as an actor, coming in and going, oh my gosh, I get to be sarcastic, I get to tell them off, I get to wear a weird onesie.
You get to be a witch.
And I get to be a witch. I get to fight people, and so yeah,
Feel
she was
fulfilled.
a good one.
Yeah.
I was very happy with
It's also when you're doing it, it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
It's like you're so focused on that episode. It's hard to take your head out of the hole in the ground and think about your character arc and what different with your character. It's
The only
such
thing
a
I would
beast.
have wanted to do differently is there was a season where I was getting
Make
hit
out
on the
with
head a
wax.
lot. And I would have liked to have slowly made her a little bit insane. It wouldn't have aged well given our society right now, but I really wanted her to start having issues. That would have been fun.
I wish, because I was good for so long in a lot of ways and ambiguous and whatever, but it took a while to get evil. And those moments were like at Onyx.
6.5 seasons.
Yeah, and so you know, I wanted there to be a few more moments where I just come out of my shell. I think that would have been fun to do because that episode was just great. So I would have liked to do more like that, do more of that stuff.
Is there a quote from the show that's really stuck with you throughout the years? Was there a moment that you could just relive or tell people always?
There's a moment in the pilot where Clark rips the door off of a truck because the kid crashed and he says, I think he says, I'm Clark Kent in Smallville. And I remember thinking that I was like James Bond when I said that. So I always was like, this is cool.
I am the villain of the story. That was cool. I got to see a lot of cool quotes and stuff. Like our friendship is gonna be the stuff of legend, and
We had some great.
you know, weird stuff. Like in the pilot, I looked at Leo and talked about it, and I go, what did I say to you? I don't want anything to get in the way of our friendship. Something real. I'm like, I'm in my 20s. You're a teenager. This is weird.
Throughout the series, how do you feel like you evolved as an actor?
I can't stand to fly. I'm not that naive. I'm more than a man.
I'm more than a plane.
You don't know the words of that shit? You guys live that shit. Come on. What was the question?
How do you feel like you've evolved as an actor throughout the series?
I think you really learn to listen more. There was a scene once where I was in the mansion and there was a tornado. I was ripping all the books off and yelling at my father, and I just couldn't get the lines. I couldn't do it. I go, guys, I'm sorry. Can I take 5 minutes? And John Glover just comes over and he goes, Michael, are you listening to what I'm saying? And I go, shit! Roll cameras, I got this. All I did was forget the most important thing of acting was to listen.
And in life.
And in real life, yeah. Through my podcast, inside of you, I've learned to listen a lot more. Yeah, just, I think I grew as an actor. I think the show definitely helped me. I never played a part like that before. I mean, if you ask any of my friends when I got cast as Lex Luthor, they would have been like, what? No, you can't do that. We can't take you seriously. And so to be this stoic character, it was everything I'm not. And to believe in myself enough to portray that role and carry it on, it was a learning experience. And I was really hard on myself. I wanted to be great. I wanted to be believable. And so I learned a lot.
Some of you probably already know, but we do this podcast called Talkville, and so we watch the series. And what I've been able to take away from it is I can see where I look more not comfortable, but in the beginning I was so quick to say my line, or so like amped up, and throughout the series I could see me sort of settling in, allowing myself to take a moment in between lines perhaps, or something, and just not feeling rushed as much.
Yeah, I saw everybody grow. I really did. Like watching the characters when they start, and by the time it ended, like everybody really pulled their weight, so.
I think it was a great show to work on before doing other things as well, because you are forced to put yourself in the mechanism of the vehicle. So you have to figure out the technical, you have to figure out the shot and what they want and how they want it to happen. And maybe you don't, but I did. And what I loved about it is that
I was laughing because you burped.
It was that pretzel.
So I learned that piece of it for myself, and I could take that bit of knowledge everywhere else I went, because sometimes you'll meet actors where they're like, I just don't feel it. I just don't really want to look to the left. And in that one, you had to go, no, you figure out how to make it work, because that's what they need, because it's about the shot, and the shot is what makes it beautiful. And so that practically was something that I became very comfortable with. And then on a personal level, it kind of works for life. I believe I could tune out my mind a little bit more and believe with my heart and just be like, okay, you got this. And I started to have more fun,
Before you go, Laura,
Yes.
I know you're on the time crunch.
I think, like all of us, when I started, I just came in season 7, so I was already a fan of the show and like just terrified to meet these actors. And I think I was just always worried for at least the first season that I was going to get fired. And so I wish, looking back, that I could have just enjoyed it and been more present. And I don't think I was there long enough to really settle in. And now I look back at it and like obviously really appreciate it, but I wish I had just taken a moment to be like, I'm Supergirl. Which is a really cool thing, like Erica said, that we still get to celebrate with you guys today, but I wish I had just realized the opportunity that I had and enjoyed it instead of just being scared all the time.
I think that's life though.
Yeah.
I think it is. I experienced that too, where sometimes you just gotta take a step back and just acknowledge what you're doing, where you are in your life.
That's what Ferris Bueller said.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like I think we all should do that more. Just go, hey, well, it's something. Everybody has something. It's whether look at these great kids I have.
Well,
Look at these great parents. I
We
have.
did this thing, some of you went last night, Smallville Nights, and one of the things we do is we don't allow any phones. And part of it is so him and I can act really silly. But it's also, we want people to be there with us for 90 minutes, and nobody's on their phone checking their stuff, there's no pictures, no videos, and it creates this atmosphere of, it's really intimate, and everybody has a great time, and it's a lot of fun, but yeah, it's like, we're all here right now. And one of the things that happens on sets a lot of times, especially with these phones, is people with their phones on set. And it's kind of like, guys, we're here doing this right now. Can you just put that down for a second? This is really, we're not gonna come back to this. Let's focus.
And be proud of it. Be proud of who you are, what you're doing. You know, I think that's hard. I think we're so hard on ourselves and we want to be a perfectionist. So it's Laura have to go.
Yeah, Laura has
Bye,
to go.
I'm sorry.
No, she's so sorry. She's so sorry.
Come back and give us some fun.
And now we're going to talk about you.
Yeah. So what I meant to say about Laura was,
Stand up.
If you want.
Stand up.
I feel like you have like restless legs and you kind
Yeah.
of want to wander a little bit.
Just a walkabout.
Me.
I literally can't see you guys, but I'm okay. So this is great.
Yeah, I can see everybody. How you doing? Is that against what they do?
No, I love this. This is great.
I believe you.
It's fine. It's something a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
And I'm sure they all love it too. Tech is like, oh my gosh, what's going on though? They're like, like where did they go? We cannot see that.
This is the best panel ever, isn't it?
Praise the Lord.
I love it.
Well, you guys are beautiful. Erica's like, we need
You're a liar. 217 episodes you saw? Wow. That was insane.
You guys are great because, and Tom spoke on this yesterday, of just being appreciative and grateful for the fans. And coming to con and being able to see, actually physically see all your fans and them talk to you about the moments to them that made their life different and made an impact on them. When was the moment that you knew that you made an impact on others? When was, for you, while filming?
I mean, just like last night, we're doing Smallville Nights, and this woman was saying, you know, you don't understand, your show is how I met my wife. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah.
You said, well, congratulations, Tom and Michael.
Yeah. And I was like, you're welcome. Really? I had an impact? I don't think, you know, in retrospect, when you're in the moment, you know, when you're doing Smallville, you're like, how is this going to affect people's lives? Well, then you realize later on when you go to cons, my dad and I, before he passed, this was our show. Veterans telling us, this got us through this. And it's just mesmerizing and beautiful. And so you're like, wow, you actually have a purpose.
There was a
you know?
little boy today who came by, it was a little boy, but when he, his grandmother was telling me, he might be here tonight, or right now, he was telling me when he was a child, he had cancer. And while he was going through it, he was watching Smallville, and he's like, thank you. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you don't think about that stuff, so thank you.
If we gave you any entertainment at all, it means the world to us.
Can we play a little game?
Let's play a game.
We're in Cleveland where we have the world famous Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so it's a little Cleveland rock speak.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You know who coined the phrase rock and roll? Alan Freed.
Is that the answer?
All right. Who is most likely to break into song at any moment?
Michael.
I mean, I think we all knew that answer, right? We knew that answer.
Yeah, come on.
If your group started a band, who would be the lead singer?
Michael.
What would your band be called?
Michael's band.
Lex and the Losers.
I love that.
I have a band, Sunspin. Go to sunspin.com. Our new album's coming out. I think you'll really dig it, so check it out.
Yes. Which person would have the most over-the-top Elton John style concert outfit?
Michael.
I don't know, Lois could do that if you're in character.
Oh, if the mood strikes, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
If we're competing, let's do it, baby.
Karaoke on the cruise.
Oh, yeah.
What we're gonna do? We're going on a cruise. Smallville cruise. Cruiseville.com. You have to come. You can swim with pigs with me, or swim with a pig, me. Whatever you want.
Who in the group would camp out overnight for tickets to see their favorite artist? You know, back in the day, you actually had to go to the box office to buy your tickets.
Camp it out for
I wouldn't camp out for shit.
you would?
You would?
Erica.
Erica. What band? Radio?
Yeah,
I
what
can see
band?
you and Laura camping out for Taylor Swift or something.
Rolling Stones.
Oh, okay. What about you, Tom? Who's your favorite band? Who do you got? No band?
I'm like a mood listener. I listen to different stuff all the
He
time.
does.
Me too.
The other day I was doing Legos with my kids and I put on jazz music and it was like awesome. I listened to some classical music.
Yacht rock.
French rap because the thing about music for me is I get distracted by the lyrics. Like it'll throw me off a song. But if I listen to a song within another language, I don't get distracted because I don't know what they're talking about.
And I'm a girl who's usually the beat snags me first. And then I go, oh, that's what they're saying? That's filthy. Oh gosh. Michael, what kind of music are you listening to? What's your favorite band? Besides your own, you can't say your own.
I listen to everything like Tom. I listen to 70s, 80s, and 60s. I love Elvis. I love Journey. I love
Chicago.
The Cure. I love Morrissey. I love Mazzy Star. I like that new song Messy by Lola. Nobody knows that song. It's a really cool
I cannot
song.
help
It's a
you.
hit.
It's a hit. Yeah, you don't know that song?
We listen to a lot of yacht rock together.
No, we're going to be playing it later. Who is most likely to completely nail a rock band or Guitar Hero solo, even if they've never touched a real instrument?
Pretty good at guitar.
I've never played it. It's fun. Is it? But you know, it's weird because I'm colorblind and the guitar is backwards because I play upside down.
I'm just rushing through the answers. I think it's just you.
Oh, then me.
Yeah, it's just
Michael, being colorblind, I didn't know this about you. Do you have like the special glasses that?
yeah, I have
Have you tried
colorblind
those?
glasses, so it helps.
You like his red jacket, right?
But I always like, I'll tell my girlfriend, I'll say, hey, it's the first time I actually said girlfriend. She's a girl and she's a friend.
That's gonna be trending on Twitter.
No, but I'll say, is this all right? She goes, yeah, you can't wear that with that shirt. I go, well, isn't this blue? She's like, not really. So that's why I'm very simple when I dress. It's usually grays, black, blue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which person would be the first to start a mosh pit at a rock concert?
Tom. You would. Hit me. Yeah, come on.
I have a few questions from fans.
All right, I love it.
All right, this question comes from Eliana out in Cleveland. She says, for Tom and Michael, Smallville touches on destiny for each of you and your respective characters. How did you use that concept while playing Clark or Lex?
I think if anything, I worked against it because I had to constantly remind myself that Clark doesn't know who he's going to be.
And neither does Lex. Lex is trying to be a good person, a good guy, someone people could believe in, somebody who they could trust and he could trust. You guys all let me down. So it just shit happens.
just say too, I think that because of the writing and the way that they orchestrated their scenes and stuff, they were so in charge of the little nuances of stuff that maybe you could play at, or that they could kind of show the audience without you guys having to play it, potentially, that, you know, because some actors do, they get kind of like, oh, I'm going to become this and I'm going to leave this little seed here or this little seed there, but there were some things that were folded really nicely into the scenes that I thought were like little foreshadowing moments and stuff that you guys could
Yeah, I always like sometimes
decide what you wanted to do with.
I would call Alan Miles and I would just say, hey, this is like too dark. I go, we know you'll play against it. So I would just play against it. I would try to be, you know, I wouldn't like lift an eyebrow. You know, like I'm bad now.
That's always the signal of a bad guy, is an eyebrow lift. It's my signature move as well. I'm
Good.
probably a little
I'll look
evil.
out for it.
Austin out in Westlake wants to know, Smallville had so many cool guest stars over the years. Was there any actor who surprised you by how well they fit into the show's universe?
I mean, Christopher Reeve. I always really was thankful for our guest stars because I always felt like I needed them. I needed the fresh blood, the fresh storylines, and I always felt so lucky that they chose to be on our show. You know, like they came in. It's not easy to just walk on the show, and you know, it's, aside from one person, we had a lot of great people on our show.
And
So
you know
there's
what?
always that one.
I'm moving along and adding to your point, but the other point. When they did the Justice League thing, every like guy or girl that came in to play the superhero, like it would be strange to go into somebody else's superhero show and pop in and like own it, and they did. Like they
Just did the Justice episode on the podcast, and somebody had written in and said, "Was it weird working with all those guys?" I'm like, I had already done an episode with each one of those guys, so when they all came back, it was just like, "What's up, man?" You know, it worked for it.
RJ in Akron wants to know, Michael, Lex's journey on Smallville was crazy. What part of playing Lex did you find the most fun or difficult, especially when he started turning against Clark?
It was fun when I could just let go sometimes, and I could just, you know, just let certain emotions out, whether I'm going crazy and tests on me, or just, you know, losing my temper, or losing my composure. You know, I had so much fun with challenges, small challenges, and sometimes the biggest challenges were being really subtle and getting something that comes across, but in a very tender, realistic, grounded way. Like when, you know, love scenes are always difficult, but if you simplify them and just feel it and you let go, when you let go as an actor, I think that's, and as a human being, when I'm so bottled up, a lot of times it's hard for me to let go of how I really feel, but when you do, you're so glad.
It's also so exhausting. The
Yeah.
frustration can just exhaust you, where creativity is actually an endless well. If you can get into that mode, you won't be as tired. Because because some people, you know, there's two modes. It's safety mode or protection mode, and there's creative mode. And if you can find your way into creative mode more often, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel better, you'll see the world as creative, as opposed to just like, I don't want to be here.
It's one of the only places people said, why do you like acting so much? This was about 10 years ago. And I said it's one of the only places at this moment where I can feel what I feel with no judgment. Like self-judgment or whatever. And then of course as you get older you start to kind of go, I really gotta feel my feels at some point or I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
it really is a place where you can really explore that, and I think what happens in a series is you start the series with a certain kind of grouping of colors and attitudes that you play, and then maybe you don't get to step out and go broad after a while, and so that like those moments where you can go, oh my gosh, I get to kind of
Flex
express
a little
something.
bit, yeah.
Sometimes I wish I had like a little Tourette's. I think I do. But where it's just like everything comes out no matter what. You're like, no, that's totally fine. Fuck you. Shut up. You're an idiot. You're an asshole. You just go, yeah, well, I said it. I said it. It
Not
came
my
out-
fault.
It came out regardless.
That's why having a
I think
couple
just
drinks
being
sometimes.
honest,
Yeah.
and just, you know, being kind. I think that's the most important thing out of everything, is being kind. It's so much easier in life to be kind to people instead of being an asshole, being a jerk, saying, hold the door open for someone. It goes a long way and you'll feel good about yourself. That's the best you'll feel. It's not about money, how much money you make, or their achievements. But when you do a kind act, I'm telling you, in my life, going to the Ronald McDonald House for movie nights every Tuesday and helping kids that are struggling with leukemia and all these things, it just feels so good to give them laughter, to give them, and that's why you feel good. Those are the things that make you feel good in life, for sure, 100%.
This question's for you, Erica. Ashley out of Detroit says, Lois Lane was such a strong, independent character. What was it like getting to portray her on the show that was still defining Superman myths? Were there any particular Lois moments you loved the most?
Well, first of all, it was awesome to get to play a lady like that, who was wonderfully human and complicated and made mistakes and was probably, couldn't do anything but own them, and I think that made her pretty relatable. My favorite moments in Smallville was when I really was able to step into what would be the Lois kind of mythology. So when I started to work in the Daily Planet and you saw her struggling to find her way and define herself and all of those things, those were really, really cool moments.
Yeah, you're right. Those are very relatable. That we all go through the same struggles. This is for Tom and Erica from Sam out in Seattle. Smallville did a masterful job portraying the love story of Lois and Clark. Thanks to you and Erica, what made the Clark and Lois relationship so special to you?
I always felt like Clark really adored Lois for who she was. Like I think he really enjoyed her. And whatever, even with, whether it's quirky or all these other things, she was like, just like a bright light in the room all the time. Even at the beginning, I think one of the best things that I like about when Lois came on was Clark could actually show some humor, and the banter that we had that I thought worked really well. And they did a good job of the slow burn for the characters getting together, because I think they knew that everybody watching knows that they're going to get together. Yeah. But the fact that we weren't together at the beginning, I think, was refreshing.
We were happy about that too. We really liked, how are we gonna? We didn't want to go too close to the ledge of finding that, and then so they would find all these different mechanisms with which they could tease it a little bit or foreshadow it a bit. But I really feel like they did such a good job when they brought in every single character to be a reflection and to allow Clark to reflect something different of his aspect of his personality. And so when Lois came in, she challenged him in different ways that other people didn't, and yeah, I know, and I just think that it was such great fun to play.
What was your first real kiss on the show? What season was it like? Not where you kiss him, but you think it's Oliver. Not in that episode in season 6. What was the first time you guys really kissed? A meaningful kiss?
Definitely not until after season 6.5 because we haven't seen it yet. On the podcast.
That's true.
So I don't know.
But do you remember the first time you had to kiss Clark?
Do you?
It's not He does not remember.
This question's for you.
I remember the first time I had
blacked out.
when I gave him CPR.
I always like to tell this story because we're all getting ready, we've all read the scene, we know what's going on, everything's, we're rushing around and Michael's laying there and putting water on his face, and then it occurs to me oh my God, this is happening. I was in the moment, and I go, how do we do this? He goes, just do it. The eyes were closed, and you're like, just do it.
When did Lois and Clark first kiss, guys? Do you know?
In the bullpen.
Bullpen.
By the way, I'm sure in the first text when he gave me CPR, I was just like immediately. I know you have to let him do it a few times.
Survive after one breath. Dan in Strongsville wants to know, Smallville had so many awesome moments. Was there one that still makes you think, wow, that was a really special even now? Besides CPR.
That meteor shower in the pilot, the whole thing was just like, oh my gosh. I thought, wow, this is great. This is extraordinary. That's what I always remember. And there were great shots and great seasons and great episodes and all that. But for me, it's just that first time seeing this show, I was like, they're really spending the money on this show.
I did so much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, one thing that always stood out to me was, there was an episode where Clark jumps off a bridge and lands on a moving 18-wheeler and slides on his stomach. And that was a really cool stunt because they had hooked up this sled that I would lay on, and the truck was moving, and I remember just being like, oh, my parents would hate me. Not wanting me to do this. It was cool.
Yeah, you kind of get to live almost like your little kid dreams of,
Yeah.
I get to jump off of this,
And
and
it's
I
fun
get
to remind yourself of that.
Yeah.
Even when you're like frustrated and tired and stuff, and be like, I get to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
You get to play pretend as your job.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. This is for everyone. From Rachel in Cleveland Heights. There was a lot of intense moments on set, but are there any funny behind the scenes moments or pranks that you played on each other during filming?
Not really during filming. It was like you don't really want to do that on set because it's like a safe place in a way. But we just kind of screw around with each other off set. We've told these stories before, but I remember one time there was this new AD, and I stole somebody's walkie-talkie, and I was like, hey, Billy, where are you? This is Tom Welling's here. The actors are not allowed to be on the radio. It's like a rule.
I wonder why.
Which is can you come to my trailer right now? I need to ask you something. Yeah, Clarendon. And I could see my trailer from like around the corner. And he's like, oh, my trailer's not going to do it. I was like, Billy, where are you? He's like, I'm right here. But I could see him getting frustrated and then being nice. I'm like, dude, I'm standing here. Where are you? I'm getting pissed. And he was like, I'm right here, sir. I just let it go for a while. And I was like, Billy, welcome to the show.
I had some moments, I forgot about that, but I used to always grab the walkie. They made it a point not to let the walkies near me. And I remember I'd be like,
That's a wrap.
I would like, did it knowing it was going back to everybody, I go, I'm naked right now. Should I stay in my trailer? And then I'll sit here.
150
Mom, get him off the
people.
Get him off the walkie. Bob would get so mad. You can't do that. I'm like, I didn't know everyone was listening. This is for you, Bob.
And I'm sorry, last question, I skipped over you, Erica. Was there a wow moment that you felt that you were like, wow, this is a great moment in the show?
I think when I came in, because it was already so successful, I was really overwhelmed by the sets. Like walking in there and everything was so,
I've seen this on TV.
I've seen it on TV. This is so cool. But no, it's truly like you know that there's money behind a production when you go in and they've got 4 stages and a back lot and all of those things. But
Inside.
The barn inside the barn. It was like a barn, and you didn't have to make up stuff. And the amount of CGI they did, and it was just this huge amount of people there, and it was great. But I loved the crane shots. I always felt like I was somehow really cool when they would do a crane
They were.
shot. It's like, oh my god, this is such a cool shit.
When we went up to Whistler and did that whole stuff with the 3 different helicopters in the glacier, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. You were talking about what a great show it was to work on. And I remember there was a guest star who I knew, who'd been around a long time, and we were just kind of talking. He goes, "Hey man, you got a good thing here." I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool because he's just like, this is how we do it." He goes, "No, they're not all like this. Trust them." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah, you'll see." And I've done. I mean, the things that I've done, I've been pretty lucky so far, but. We just all really got along. We were all there to elevate the material, get the work done, and try to make it better. Because as I said last night, when you read some of the scenes, they're ridiculous. Just the wording of it all. But you got to bring it to life and commit to it, like you were saying.
And I've been on some, not many, but like I remember being on a toxic set where it was just obvious the lead did not want to be there, and I was so bummed because I wanted to meet this person. I was excited about working with them, and they were just over it. And I was just like, oh, that sucks, man. You could just tell the vibe. If the leader is sort of a jerk, it just goes right down the chain, right down the line, and people just feel that energy. So, thank God you were all right, buddy. It was always fun. We always had fun.
Yeah. And people love your guys' energy, and I'm sure they would sit here all night long with you. But unfortunately, I have to let you guys Thank you so much for
Thanks,
being
guys.
here.